What's up, YouTube? This is Mouthwiz97 and welcome to the Extreme Rules pay-per-view for my WWE 2K15 Universe Mode. This is episode number 54, and let's take a look at the match card. As we can see, kicking off the pay-per-view, we have Titus O'Neil defending the Intercontinental Championship against the big guy, Ryback. Brie defends her Divas Championship against the number one contender, Paige. The tag team titles are on the line in an elimination tag team match, as it is Eric Rowan and Luke Harper of the Wyatt family defending against Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose of The Shield. Triple threat match to determine the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship at the next pay-per-view, Over the Limit, between Darren Young, Cody Rhodes, and Goldust. CM Punk defends the WWE title against Wade Bad News Barrett. One of two Extreme Rules matches of the night, as it is Alberto Del Rio taking on the United States Champion Cesaro. And in the main event, the World Heavyweight Champion Christian defends the gold against the show-off Dolph Ziggler in yet another Extreme Rules matchup. So let's get this underway. Let's delay this no longer. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia for the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. It's a shame we couldn't make it to Philadelphia. That would have been an awesome setting for this pay-per-view. But still, Atlanta, Georgia is about to get its face rocked with some amazing WWE action here tonight. And what a way to kick off the pay-per-view, as we've got the Intercontinental Championship up for grabs. Ryback, of course, losing his championship at WrestleMania. Titus O'Neil, he did not pin Ryback, though. He pinned Cody Rhodes in that matchup. So it'll be interesting to see if Titus O'Neil has what it takes to defeat Ryback in one-on-one competition. Of course, the last time these two faced off was on an episode of SmackDown about a month ago, leading up to WrestleMania, where Ryback, Titus O'Neil got some offense in, took the fight to Ryback, but in the end, it was still Ryback, the big guy, who came out on top as the winner. And Ryback, you can see now that he's lost the Intercontinental title, almost seems like he's just got renewed fire in his eyes, as he knows that he no longer has that certified spot on the roster, and even more so now that he's been drafted over to Monday Night Raw from SmackDown. So Ryback, he's got to work extra hard to make a name for himself over on Monday Night Raw and get his spot back. Ryback is still in pursuit of the World Heavyweight Championship, but you can't lose a match and expect to get a championship opportunity. Unless you're the former champion, the rematch clause for this case is the only reason why Ryback is getting his match here tonight. But if Ryback were to lose here, then how does he expect to move on to the World Heavyweight Championship in a short amount of time? Because if he loses here, he's just going to have to work even harder, pick up win after win after win after win after win until finally he gets noticed for his victories. He puts together enough momentum that he can genuinely challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. But if he can beat Titus O'Neil here tonight and capture the Intercontinental Championship, well, for one thing, Monday Night Raw would then have 3 championships, which would put SmackDown in a similar situation as to what had happened after the first episode of the WWE Draft, as Ryback suplexes Titus O'Neil out to the floor there. But, it's a bit different. Raw or SmackDown would still have the WWE title, but still, then that would put their show at a distinct disadvantage. And if Ryback would win the Intercontinental Championship, that's something that he would stand out a bit more, and it could perhaps drive him even closer to the World Heavyweight title in a shorter amount of time. He wouldn't have to, I would say he'd already have momentum on his side. He wouldn't have to pick up as much momentum to get there. It wouldn't take quite as long to get back to the top. But Titus O'Neil, on the other hand, this is a make it or break it night for him, because there are still some doubters out there as to whether or not Titus O'Neil is a legitimate Intercontinental Champion. He may have defeated the Honky Tonk Man on the Slammy Awards episode, but that's not going to justify his title victory at WrestleMania, because Titus did not defeat the champion he pinned Cody Rhodes. Rhodes was not the champion on the night. That is how Fatal 4-Way environments tend to work, but still, there are still some doubters out there as to whether or not Titus O'Neil can beat Ryback in a fair matchup, which does put a bit of an asterisk next to his Intercontinental Championship reign. So Titus O'Neil, he needs this matchup more than Ryback needs this matchup. Titus O'Neil needs this victory more than Ryback needs this victory. But Ryback could perhaps have the stronger driving force. We'll see who is the stronger entity here tonight, as we can see Titus O'Neil flipping Ryback over, trying to go for a submission hold to wear him down. But Ryback too close to the ropes, forced the rope break. Titus O'Neil now with a running STO. He's used that move to defeat several opponents in the past. But Ryback, he's not going to stay down just after that. Titus, he's going to have to hit Ryback with everything he's got to put the big guy away here. This is, without a doubt, Titus O'Neil's biggest challenge as of yet. Backbreaker there to Ryback. Titus O'Neil goes into the cover. 1. Not even a 2 count, though. Ryback kicks out. And we've seen in the past, Ryback's resiliency has been well documented. Let's take a flashback to Night of Champions, where he kicked out of 3 kill switches from Christian to win the Intercontinental Championship. That was, of course, the first time Ryback won the title. Well, I mean, he didn't win it there. That was the rematch, I should say. So that was the first time Ryback retained the Intercontinental Championship. If I can get my facts straight. Ryback now tossing Titus O'Neil back into the ring. As he attempted, well, Ryback we saw got tossed out of the ring by Titus after the missed clothesline. But Ryback now has managed to go back on the attack, gain the upper hand, as he's going for a DDT perhaps, but Titus counters with an arm breaker. And Titus O'Neil trying to reinstate his dominance here in this matchup. Ryback, though, with a nice strike there, a chop now. Another punch to the face as Titus O'Neil backed up against the ropes. But Titus again tosses Ryback out over the top rope to the floor. As Ryback, at the moment, he's not looking too good. Titus O'Neil's got this match firmly in his favor. Meat hook clothesline! Well, that's going to turn the tides of this matchup in an instant. Titus O'Neil just got his head taken off with that meat hook clothesline. Oh, and Ryback, he's looking to go in for the kill. Out onto the floor. Ryback, he's marching around. He's looking for shell shock onto the floor right there. Oh, but Ryback, he's not bouncing back to his feet. I think that move could have possibly taken more out of him than he realized. Referee up to a 6 count. Ryback, he's got to get Titus O'Neil back in the ring. He can't let Titus be counted out because then the title will not change hands. Titus will remain the Intercontinental Champion. As it's currently an 8 count. Titus, he's got to get back in the ring. But that's the champion's advantage. Ryback has to win this matchup, but Titus O'Neil does not have to win this matchup. He can get counted out. He can get disqualified if times get tough. But that's not what Titus is looking to do here tonight. That's not his objective. Like I said, there are people who doubt his reign as Intercontinental Champion. So Titus, here tonight, unless things get really desperate for him, unless the situation becomes extremely dire and it's a last resort, I don't see Titus getting himself counted out or disqualified. Because he needs to prove himself here tonight. That's what this match is all about for Titus O'Neil. Although, like I said, if it is a last resort, if Ryback appears to be going in for the kill, Titus may just duck out of the ring, grab a steel chair, and strike Ryback when he's not looking, or just hightail it out of the match. Just head back to the locker room and be done for the night. But that's as a last resort, is what I would believe. Ryback delivers a nice knee lift right to the gut. And Ryback's going to the top rope? Really? What is Ryback going to do here? Oh, an elbow drop across the chin of Titus O'Neil. And, well, it's not often that we see Ryback go to the top rope. But when he does, it's effective. And as we can see, Ryback with a nice side suplex. But Ryback, he definitely took a lot out of himself with that shell shock out onto the floor earlier. But he seems to be bouncing back just fine here. Shoulder switch, power slam. Driving Titus O'Neil into the mat there. And Ryback now going to the corner, maybe thinking another meat hook clothesline. But Titus back to his feet. Ryback, though, knocks him right back down. Ryback could be closing in on the win here, but Titus counters with a knee to the gut. of the big guy. And wait a minute. Look at this, Titus with a gutbuster. We've seen him use that before to put away many opponents. Cover by Titus. One, not even a 1 count. Ryback's long legs coming into great advantage for him there as he was able to get the rope break. But I don't know if Ryback's fully recovered from it. Titus wasting little time, looking to capitalize. It's the time to strike with the clash of the Titus right there. And Ryback could be done here. He did suffer a lot of damage from the shell shock to the floor, as that's 2. Titus O'Neil has defeated the former Intercontinental Champion, Ryback. Titus retains the title here tonight. And I gotta say, I think the big nail in Ryback's coffin, or the thing that just kind of set him up for failure, was the shell shock out onto the floor. I believe Ryback his head must have bounced off the floor, and it just knocked him silly for a little while. And in the end, the damage had kind of caught up to him. And then that gutbuster wore him down. Luckily for him, I think he would have kicked out if it wasn't for the rope break. But nonetheless, Titus O'Neil, he was very smart. He didn't waste any time. Immediately picked Ryback up to his feet and caught him with Clash of the Titus before Ryback could even recover. And Titus O'Neil, just like that, remains your Intercontinental Champion. So that should put any doubts to rest as to whether or not Titus O'Neil's Intercontinental Championship victory at WrestleMania was legitimate, because he proved that he can defeat Ryback one-on-one. So it's a new era now for SmackDown for the Intercontinental title, as Ryback now, he's going to be moving on to Raw. He has no more opportunities for the title, so he's going to have to get himself back on track to try to progress towards the World Heavyweight Championship, if that is his next goal. But speaking of Monday Night Raw, we're looking at our Divas champion representing all the Divas in the entire WWE, as it's Brie Bella here tonight, taking on one of WWE's newest and brightest young Divas here, as it is Paige, the anti-diva. And Paige, she remains undefeated to this point. After defeating Tamina Snuka on the Slammy Awards episode of Friday Night SmackDown to become #1 contender, Paige, she's fought everybody. She's defeated everyone who's stood in her path so far to get to this stage. But does she have it in her to defeat Brie Bella when it counts? Can she be the fastest rising diva to win the Divas Championship? She debuted prior to Elimination Chamber, and now she is here just 2 months later, challenging for the Divas Championship. Talk about a quick rise to the top for Paige. She's certainly made an impact since debuting here to the series, but does she have enough in the tank on this night? Is she the better wrestler here tonight? Does she have what it takes to defeat Brie Bella? We're about to find out as these two lock up, collar and elbow tie up. Paige gaining the upper hand, but now it's Brie with a counter, as she's got Paige's arm wrenched right there. And now ducks behind as the referee won't get out of the shot. So I can't see what's going on here, but it looks like Brie Bella still has the upper hand. I can't tell. Couldn't even see Brie Bella at the end of that. And now a drop kick to the chin there of Paige. So Brie Bella starting out with the upper hand, delivers a leg drop across the face of Paige, but Paige back to her feet with a nice strike to the gut. And now delivers a backbreaker right there to Brie Bella. So Brie Bella won her Divas Championship at Elimination Chamber in the triple threat against Summer Rae and AJ Lee. Of course, defending the title at WrestleMania against Summer Rae in the rematch. So Brie Bella, she's starting to put together a nice title reign for herself. Of course, I had to make it a thing that I had to point out that she was the first ever not blonde woman to win the Divas Championship, as prior to that, we had Beth Phoenix, Natalya, and Caitlyn, well, and Summer Rae, of course. The four previous Divas champions before her all had blonde hair, which is just kind of a fun fact. Although, don't know what really is relevant about that to their wrestling ability. It was just, I don't know, something I felt the need to point out at the time. But Paige here, she is, I don't know. I was going to say she's in control, but before I could even say that, Brie Bella, with a nice running DDT, took Paige out there. And now a hip toss as she uses Paige's own momentum against her. And now a slap to the face of Paige. Well, Brie Bella showing no respect to the up-and-coming rookie. Now delivers a side rush and leg sweep. As the anti-diva is currently in trouble. But of course, as I say that, she's going to fire back with another backbreaker. And now Paige setting Brie up for a drop kick in between the shoulders there of Brie Bella. And now Paige looking to go on the offensive, start to fire up some of her own offense, blocks a punch, delivers one of her own to Brie Bella. Now tosses Brie into the corner, looks for a running clothesline, but Brie blocks it with an elbow to the face. Kick to the leg now, and here's Brie, Northern Light suplex into the bridge, cover. Not even a 2 count though, as Paige gets the shoulder up. Paige back to her feet now. There's an Irish whip, pulling Brie back into a headbutt right there. And Paige now off the first headbutt. Well, we've seen this before. Paige just sizing up Brie Bella and now measuring her for those vicious headbutts to the face. Because that's what's different about Paige. She's not the same kind of diva, the typical diva we've come to know over the past couple of years. I mean, we take a look at, you know, some of the more recent divas like Kelly, Brie Bella. I would have to say both the Bella twins could fall into that category. Or at least originally they could. Summer Rae, definitely Summer Rae is one of the images of a diva. But Paige, she's different. She's more of a just, wait a minute, counter! Brie Bella with the Bella Buster! She could put Paige away right here. Well, not going for the pinfall, instead looking for a submission hold here. As she's trying to get Paige to tap out, driving the knee right into the spine. But Paige, though, she hangs on, she survives. But as I was saying, Paige a lot more aggressive than most of the divas we've seen in the past. I mean, we've seen some of the powerhouses like Beth Phoenix and Natalya who've dominated the roster. But we haven't really seen someone just with the pure aggressiveness that Paige has. Paige is just pure aggression to the core. And that's one of the traits that brought her to the dance. And that's what she's got to use to capture the title, to capture these victories, to make a name for herself here on the roster. As she slams Brie Bella's head off the mat there. Now dragging her away from the ropes as yet again smashing Brie Bella's head into the mat there. And now Paige, she's setting Brie up. What's she looking to do? Perhaps the Paige turner here. And she hits it. She connects. Hooks the leg on Brie. 1, 2, 3. There it is, folks. Paige has captured the Divas Championship. She remains undefeated. And with the Paige turner, well, she turns another page to a new chapter in her life, in her career here in the WWE, as she can finally say that she is the Divas Champion after wrestling over in her home country, wrestling for years to get to the WWE since she was a little girl. Paige finally can say that she's reached the top of the mountain here in the WWE Divas division. She is the Divas Champion. And I apologize if my mic just did something random there because I saw the little video lag. So I apologize if that stupid drop in the commentary, the skipping, and you know, that's just the state my laptop is in at the moment. It happens more often. Although it's been pretty well for the commentaries for the most part. It's just those little skips were just really bugging me. And also the fact that, you know, GM mode is starting to get messed up a little bit in terms of recording. Just, it's not the capture software, it's just my laptop is slow. And it's old at this point. You know, it's not super old. I've only had it for about 3 or 4 years, but I feel like in terms of technology, they don't last quite as long as other things would. But I'm getting off on a tangent. Let's focus on what's about to go down. Tag team titles up for grabs, as it's Eric Rowan and Luke Harper of the Wyatt family taking on Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins of The Shield. Of course, at WrestleMania, we saw The Shield and the Wyatt family clash All 6 participants in the match went to war. They beat the hell out of each other, but in the end, it was the Shield who rose victorious. And then, following that, we saw the first night of the WWE draft. Roman Reigns drafted over to Friday Night SmackDown, and Dean Ambrose was the one who lost the match that sent Roman over to SmackDown. So Dean, that could perhaps be weighing on his conscience heading into this one, but Bray Wyatt banned from ringside here, Roman Reigns banned from ringside. We want to try to keep this from breaking down into chaos. And I mean, we haven't even seen Bray Wyatt since the WrestleMania match. He took a huge beating at the hands of the Shield. I mean, a triple powerbomb, superplexing Reigns out to the floor, a Superman punch, a spear, you name it. Bray Wyatt just got the stuffing beaten out of him. I don't know if we're going to see Bray Wyatt for some time. I think it's going to be quite a while until he returns to the WWE. But that's just speculation. And that's also getting a bit sidetracked, as Bray's not even in this matchup. Although, he has led the Wyatt family to success. The Wyatt family capturing those tag team titles back at the No Way Out pay-per-view back in October. And it is now April. They are still your tag team champions. But this, I would have to say, the tag titles are in more jeopardy than they've ever been. As the Shield, they've proven that they can defeat the Wyatt family. They've already done it once at WrestleMania in the 6-man tag team match. And now here tonight, we just got to see if they can get the job done on their own. Dean and Seth, are they strong enough to defeat Eric Rowan and Luke Harper on their own? Well, as we can see right now, Eric Rowan gaining control, driving those fists into the head, just crushing Dean Ambrose's skull there. But Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, they've been dominating the tag team title picture. The Shield have just been dominating the entire WWE. But in saying that, that was as a 3-man team. And, you know, you can say that, you know, taking one member of a team does not break the team, but it definitely does take away a lot of their strength. And especially considering the man known as the powerhouse of the Shield is no longer a part of the Shield, now that he's been sent over to SmackDown. You know, both literally and metaphorically, the Shield has lost a lot of power. And not to say that they're not a dominant tag team. They're still one of the best teams in the WWE. But they don't really hold up to being the strongest faction in history, as I would have described them a few months ago. Now it seems as though they've kind of fallen off their pedestal. Although they did defeat the Wyatt family at WrestleMania, so it did prove that they were the stronger faction. But we'll see if they're the stronger tag team on this night. Perhaps, you know, WrestleMania was just their night. It really was kind of a ultimate conclusion for things going with the Shield. I mean, they started out at Over the Limit, or on the Over the Limit pre-show by facing Jericho, Miz, and Big Show, and then through all the progression in their career, defeating Team Icons, defeating the Authority, and now finally the Wyatt family at WrestleMania. One last thing I say that they could add to their resume is to win the tag team titles. That would be the ultimate sort of culmination of everything that the Shield has accomplished in their careers thus far. And think, these 3 young men, you know, to include Roman Reigns along with that, these 3 young men still have a long future ahead of them. They've got a bright, promising future as single superstars as well. But as a tag team, they're almost at the point where they've accomplished everything they can. Rowan now with an elbow right to the face, but here's vintage Dean Ambrose firing off the ropes into a clothesline. Cover on Rowan, but there's Luke Harper to break it up. And speaking of superstars with promising futures, how about the Wyatt family? They've held the tag team titles for a long time at this point, from October to April, so they've made enough of an impression for themselves. I'll be interested to see how they survive as single superstars. When we look at the Wyatt family, they're not quite an equal unit. It's almost like Bray Wyatt's the ringmaster, and Rowan and Harper are just sort of his disciples. But still, they are dominant in their own right. Be interesting to see how they match up as single superstars. But look at this. Harper tosses Rowan right into the corner with that clothesline. Rowan goes for the cover on Dean. 1. Not even a 2 count, though. Seth Rollins quickly gets in there to break up the pin. As we're back to the two who started the match off, the two who have taken the most punishment, Dean and Rowan. As Rowan now with those vicious headbutts to the skull of Dean Ambrose. That'll knock you silly. Dean, he's really got to make a tag out of this one, as now he gets tossed back down to the mat. Not even allowed to stand up by Rowan. As Rowan tags in the fresher man, Harper. Dean Ambrose, though, he's been in this match since the beginning. He desperately needs to tag in to Seth Rollins. As now Harper connects with a big boot to the face. Cover again, but Rollins again able to get in there fairly quickly to break that one up. And Ambrose able to roll away, but to no effect, as Luke Harper with a nice sidewalk slam takes Dean Ambrose down regardless. Now tosses Dean back into the corner. Well, they're going to go for it again. Luke Harper setting up Eric Rowan for another clothesline in the corner. I don't know if Dean's going to be able to kick out of that. Here's a cover, hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3, that is it. Dean Ambrose is out of this one. Seth couldn't make it in time this time. And now it's 2-on-1. It's a handicap match. Oof. Things, heading into this one, I probably would have bet my house. Okay, I wouldn't have bet that much, but I would have said it would have been good odds to bet on the Shield winning this one. But now that Dean's been eliminated, I don't know. Can Seth Rollins pull this out on his own? Can he defeat Harper and Rowan at the same time? I don't know. Things are looking a bit shaky for the Shield now. But Seth, nonetheless, he's still fairly fresh in this matchup. He hasn't been tagged in at all to this point. So, at the moment, it appears as though he hasn't really been able to just fire out of the gates. But he still is going to be a lot less damage than someone like Eric Rowan is, who sustained a lot of punishment at the hands of Dean Ambrose. But Rowan is just beating the life out of Seth Rollins here. Seth can't even get going. He can't even get started in this matchup. Rowan now looking to tag out, but Seth counters. Went for a running clothesline, but it's blocked. As Rowan just able to outpower Seth Rollins here. As he's just picking Seth apart right now. Delivers a power slam, hooks the leg. 1 count, 2. Not quite a 2 count. Seth able to kick out. And now Seth, he's able to fight back. Look at this, crucifix into the cover. Could have him, but Rowan kicks out before even a count can occur. Now stomps on the arm, right at the elbow of Eric Rowan. Seth Rollins now, he was starting to fire back, but Rowan able to swat Seth Rollins out of the air like a fly, and now delivers a splash on Rollins, but he kicks out yet again at 2. Not even a 2, just a 1 count. But Seth Rollins, at this point, he's just going to get slowly worn down here. Oh, wait a minute. He's able to counter there. Rowan perhaps looking for that tag team combination yet again, that clothesline in the corner. But Rollins, he had it well scouted. He was able to block it. And now Seth, what's he doing? He's dragging Rowan over there to the ropes. What is Seth thinking here? Oh, tossed over the top, but he manages to hang on, able to catch himself. Counter. Elbow right to the face of Eric Rowan. And now there's that diving knee off the top rope, right to the skull of Eric Rowan. As Rollins now going to the corner, measuring his man for the super kick to the jaw. Avada Kedavra. And now cover here by Seth Rollins. 2 count, but Rowan kicks out just before the 3 count. Seth Rollins, he's in a lot of trouble now. He's got to put away Eric Rowan quickly if he wants to have any hope of battling Luke Harper. As Rowan's the man who's been in this matchup the most, alongside Dean Ambrose. Harper's still fairly fresh, so Seth Rollins, he's got to deal with Rowan quickly, get him out of the way if he wants to have any hope of taking on Luke Harper. Rollins now tossing Rowan back into the corner, and this is where Seth wants Rowan to be. He doesn't want to be in the corner of the Wyatt family. He wants to be in the Shield's corner. Let's look at this splash off the second rope by Seth Rollins. And Rollins now, you can see he's spent now. He's sustained a lot of damage from Eric Rowan. As Rollins now slowly crawling to the top rope here. And look at this, a spinning wheel kick from the top rope. That could do it. Cover again on Rowan, but it's going to be broken up by Luke Harper. That's what happens. Rollins now at this point, he's going to have to take Harper out of the equation if he wants to even attempt to eliminate Eric Rowan. And that's much easier said than done. Rollins again, now with a forearm to the face of Rowan. And now looking for a DDT, but it's countered by Eric Rowan with basically the only counter animation in this game. 2 count, kick out by Rollins. But you can see Seth Rollins, he's slowly getting worn down by the Wyatt family here. Rowan is slowly tiring Seth Rollins out. And now Rowan, well, he's looking to make a tag to the fresher man, Harper. And Seth Rollins, though, he did get a little bit of space to breathe, but it doesn't look like that's going to do him much good, as there's Luke Harper with a pump handle slam. Goes into the cover. That could put Rollins away, but Rollins kicks out fairly quickly. As now, Rollins back to his feet. Setting up Luke Harper for something. He's got him up on his shoulders here. Look at this, turns it into a jawbreaker. Nice move there by Seth Rollins. As now he picks Harper up to his feet. Seth, he's got to hit something big here. He's got to hurry up and put one of these two men away. He's running out of time. Nice Falcon arrow there to Luke Harper. But Seth Rollins, he can hit all the moves he wants. He just needs to do something to put Luke Harper out of this matchup. And that's exactly what he's looking to do. He's got him up on his shoulders for the power bomb into the turnbuckle. Seth Rollins dropping down to one knee, as he really has taken a lot of damage. Cover on Harper. 2 count. Not even a 2 count. It's a kick out by Harper. Seth Rollins, what is it going to take to put one of these members of the Wyatt family away? He's got to be doubting himself at this point, as he's got no partner to tag out to. And that's really what's going to give Harper and Rowan the advantage. Let's look at this. Seth Rollins, Skywalker, hooks the leg. 1, 2, no! Just in the last second, Eric Rowan gets in and saves Luke Harper from potential elimination there. And I think Seth Rollins has had enough. Drop kick to Rowan, taking him off the ropes. Now a kick to the gut of Luke Harper. But you can see Seth Rollins, he's really running low on stamina at this point. His endurance is being pushed to the very limit, and he was unable to capitalize. He knocked Rowan off the ropes, but he couldn't capitalize on Harper. And now Rowan has entered the ring here. I mean, the referee, he's got to be careful here. He's got to get this match under control. Rowan again knocked off the rope, but here's Harper now, a snapmare takedown into a drop kick. Right to the jaw of Seth Rollins. Cover again by Harper. 1, 2, kick out again by Rollins. I'm not sure how much longer Seth is going to be able to keep this up. This is just turning into a massacre. As Harper again, snapmare takedown. Another drop kick to the face. And we saw a similar situation with this for the Shield when they delivered, that snapmare into the kick to the face of Edge a few weeks ago, perhaps taking its toll now on a reverse effect to Seth Rollins. And now that face buster could put Rollins away. 2 count, but again Rollins. I don't know how he's doing it. Somehow Rollins is able to dig down deep and keep himself alive in this matchup. But you can see he's on wobbly legs. With that counter, he almost fell over delivering that punch. Rollins, he doesn't have much left. And, well, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, almost like buzzards, just kind of circling in for the kill. It's just going to take one more move to put Seth Rollins away. As Luke Harper again going to look for that power slam, the pump handle slam, I should say. Once again, driving Rollins down to the mat. Into the cover, forearm across the face. The kick out again by Rollins. Luke Harper now could perhaps be doubting himself that they haven't been able to put Rollins away yet. Harper dumped to the outside. Rollins now, he's going to go after him. But he's going to want to get Harper back in the ring because Eric Rowan, he's going to be around that corner fairly shortly. And Seth does not want to be in a 2-on-1 fight here. Side suplex there by Harper out to the floor. And Seth, he's in deep trouble here, as Luke Harper now throws him back into the ring. But Rollins, that gives him a little bit of space. He could try to use that space to capitalize, but Harper fires back with a punch, and now a super kick to the jaw of Seth Rollins. And now Luke Harper, what's he going to do next? Goes for a DDT. Counter again by Seth Rollins. As I honestly don't know what is it going to take to put Seth Rollins away. He's somehow able to... He's just running on adrenaline at this point, but how much... You only have so much adrenaline. I don't know how much longer Seth is going to be able to keep this up. As Harper now... Another huge haymaker shot to the face of Seth Rollins. But Seth with a counter, delivers a strike of his own. Counter again by Harper. As Harper powers Seth up there for a sidewalk slam. Rowan watching on over there at the apron. Harper again for the cover. And again, Seth Rollins kicks out. Well, Seth Rollins definitely showing an undying determination to succeed here in this matchup. He's going out like a warrior, but at this point, I think it's only a matter of time for Seth. I don't think he can possibly have any hope of coming back in this matchup. I think it's too late for him. Harper counters with a kick to the gut of Seth Rollins. And now tosses Rollins into the corner. And it looks like, well, counter again by Rollins. I was just about to say, wait, roll up on Harper. Could he have an elimination here? No, of course. It's just me getting my hopes up. But Luke Harper was perhaps looking to finish Seth Rollins off the same way that they finished off Dean Ambrose. Harper tossing Rollins into the corner. And here we go. Irish whip off the ropes. Drop toe hold into an elbow drop. So not quite the same move, but it basically has the same effect. 2 count, and that is it, folks. Eventually, Harper, Rowan, they just broke Seth Rollins down until he couldn't take any more punishment. And in the end, that's a victory for the Wyatt family as they retain the tag team titles yet again. So the Wyatt family's dominant tag team title reign continues. And now they have defeated the Shield. So at this point, who can really stop the Wyatt family? If the Shield can't take the tag titles away, well then who can? Perhaps the Wyatt family, they're just going to keep holding on to those titles for months and months to come. It doesn't appear as though there's anyone that can stop them at this stage in the game. So despite the loss at WrestleMania, the Wyatt family, they're able to bounce back here tonight at Extreme Rules. And they can keep on fighting. They live to fight another day. And continue their dominant reign as tag team champions. And now we're moving on to the #1 contenders triple threat matchup. But before we get into this, I want to make a little bit of an announcement, as stay tuned for episode number 60 of Universe Mode, because it will be the Saturday night's main event special edition of Universe Mode. That's right, there is going to be a Saturday night's main event. Try to mix things up a little bit more, throw in another nice special episode. And guess what's going to be happening on that night? It has been announced. The match you've all been waiting for. Triple H looks for revenge against the Shield as he teams up with longtime tag team partner Shawn Michaels. It will be D-Generation X taking on Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose of the Shield on Saturday night's main event. Just 2 weeks away. Episode 60 of Universe Mode. So stay tuned for that one. That's going to be huge. Really looking forward to that special. It's going to be a good episode. But enough about that. We're going to focus on the match at hand at the moment. As Goldust now making his slow, methodic entrance down to the ring as the Bizarre One. It would be interesting to see if he could get a shot at the Intercontinental title. You know, ever since he returned, it seems as though his mindset has been more focused towards the tag team titles, whether it's teaming up with Booker T or his brother Cody Rhodes. But, you know, after so many attempts, I think Goldust finally got it through his head that he doesn't have what it takes to beat the Wyatt family. No matter who his tag team partner is, he just can't get it done. So he's moving on. He's finally moved on. He's let it go. He's moving on to other goals, other aspirations here in Universe Mode. But he's got 2 determined opponents to try to go through if he wants to try to become #1 contender. As he's got his own brother, Cody Rhodes, here tonight, who is in pursuit of the Intercontinental Championship as well. His story has been well documented over the past several months, over like half a year at this point. He's had a long journey, and it appeared as though at Elimination Chamber, Cody may have finally reached his conclusion, but Ryback retained, and then at WrestleMania, Cody was the man who was pinned in the Fatal 4-Way matchup by Titus O'Neil. So Cody Rhodes, he's running out of opportunities. I mean, he's worked so hard for so long to get to this point, and it all just kind of fell away from him. It just fell through his grasp like dust. And then, of course, we've got Darren Young, whose arch rival is the Intercontinental Champion, former tag team partners with Titus O'Neil as a member of the Primetime Players. But Darren Young, now it's at this point where he might be thinking he was the weak link. At least that's what Titus O'Neil is trying to prove. Though in their series of matches, they have competed against each other 5 times. Darren does have the 3-2 advantage, but still, lately, in the more recent matches, Titus has won on both occasions. That being the Elimination Chamber, and I guess if you count the Fatal 4-Way as being a one-on-one matchup, then that counts as the 2 victories for Titus. So Darren, at WrestleMania, he was there to just kind of thwart Titus O'Neil's efforts at the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know if Darren really wanted to win the title or not, but I'm sure he would have done whatever it took to prevent Titus from winning the title, and he failed. So now, I don't know if it's more so that Darren wants to be Intercontinental Champion, or if he just doesn't want Titus to be the Intercontinental Champion, and he just wants to have the opportunity to take that away from him, the satisfaction of taking his rival's greatest prize away from him. I mean, it could go either way, and I'm sure it doesn't really matter, because the point is, Darren Young, he's going after the Intercontinental Championship, he's going after Titus O'Neil, and either way, whether it's for his own personal benefit or to just rob Titus of the title, hey, he'd be Intercontinental Champion, so it doesn't really matter either way what his goals are. The outcome would still be the same. But we'll see if we'll see if his drive is greater than Cody Rhodes' desperation or Goldust's desperation, because I mean, all 3 of these men have been on a losing streak, and Cody Rhodes did get a win over Darren Young. Darren Young has won a match. He won his match on SmackDown. But overall, in terms of, long-term winning-losing records, they've been on a losing streak. Their losses have outweighed their victories. And that's really starting to get to them, all 3 of these men. So they're all desperate at this point in the game. So this matchup here tonight, we just have to see which man is the most dangerous, which man is willing to go to the greatest lengths to capture the prize, to become #1 contender. Well, right now, Darren Young delivering a belly-to-belly suplex, sending Goldust halfway across the ring there. And now an Irish whip to Cody Rhodes as Rhodes goes off the ropes, but he counters, using his momentum effectively to deliver a bulldog to Darren Young. And now Goldust and Cody going at it, as it appears as though there may be a bit of dissension brewing between the Brotherhood, as over the past couple of weeks they've been losing, and Cody and Goldust even had a match against each other on the Slammy Awards episode, which Goldust won. So Cody's got a victory over Darren, Goldust has got a victory over Cody, so these men all seem to have some sort of an issue with each other. They've all faced each other, and so they all kind of tie in leading into this matchup. They've kind of had a chance to scout each other out, see what they're capable of, see what their opponents are made of. Goldust going up to the second rope here, perhaps looking for that bulldog off the second rope, and he hits it on Darren Young. And Goldust now just kind of taking a moment to just watch as Cody and Darren tear each other apart. Suplex by Cody, goes in for the pin, but Goldust is right there to break out the pinfall attempt. He does not want to let Cody win this matchup that easily. So, between Goldust and Cody, I'm curious to see if the title is going to outweigh their partnership, if they're willing to take each other out, if, they kind of have a bit of a mutual respect going between each other, if they're willing to, say Goldust wins this matchup, say Goldust wins this matchup, is Cody gonna let that slide, or is he gonna be, just kind of so caught up with jealousy that he's gonna let it kind of consume him and just completely throw their partnership out the window? And the same goes if Cody would win this matchup. Would Goldust do the same? But Darren Young, after that submission hold, wearing down Goldust, tried to go for the cover. It's broken up by Cody Rhodes. And now Cody delivers a dropkick to Goldust. Darren attempted to attack Cody there, but Cody was able to counter. And now look at this. Swinging neck breaker to Darren Young. And now Cody going back after Goldust, not allowing either of his opponents to catch a breath. And here's Cody Rhodes looking for some Alabama Slammer right there. Into the cover on Goldust. 1 count, but it's broken up by Darren Young. He just is able to get there at the last second. And it seems as though Goldust is the target of both of these men. They're both looking to strike. But Darren instead goes after Cody Rhodes with the gut check. The gut buster right there. But Goldust now capitalizing with the final cut on Darren Young. Goldust, if he can just pin either one of these two men, he's got the win. Pin Darren, pin Cody, whoever it is. Whoa, Goldust chooses Cody. Is that it? Yes, it is. Goldust gets the win, and he's your #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. Goldust, just an instance of right place, right time for him, as Darren struck Cody with his finisher. So Goldust, he took Darren out with his finisher. But the curious bit to note is that Goldust chose to pin Cody. I mean, he could have pinned either man, and the outcome most likely would have been the same. But you see Goldust turned around and pinned Cody there. Could that perhaps be that Goldust thought Cody was the weaker target? He thought Darren Young had a better chance of kicking out than Rhodes? We'll have to get back on this. I think there's a bit of a story to be made out of that. But we'll save the drama for another time, another place, because I'm sure such a discussion will pop up in the future between these two. Because I feel that, you know, whether Goldust is, I don't know. I don't really know what to say. But I feel like Cody, he could perhaps have a bit of a problem with that. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But it's time that we move on to one of our World Championship matches of the evening, as this one is between SmackDown's WWE Champion of the World, CM Punk, and his opponent, Wade Bad News Barrett. Barrett, of course, winning a Battle Royal to become #1 contender. After The Rock was sidelined with an injury, he's been held out of action. And Wade Barrett, it was just right place, right time for him. It appeared as though Roman Reigns was looking like a strong potential opponent for CM Punk. I mean, Reigns eliminated Jericho, eliminated Mark Henry, he eliminated Sheamus. But luckily enough, Wade Barrett was able to take out Roman Reigns just in the nick of time before Roman Reigns built up too much momentum, before he just became unstoppable. And that's how Wade Barrett made his way to this matchup here tonight. Barrett, I mean, we did see that, yeah, I do apologize for this. The attires, there were supposed to be new attires for some of these superstars in this episode, but the pay-per-view kind of reset it. Like, the Universe Mode, it like almost negated any attires that I had changed, and it went back to the one I had set previously. So CM Punk, his attire didn't change. Barrett, he doesn't have the Barrett Barrage attire, which I really like that one. But it's the same with, and my video just skipped there, so if the audio dropped and skipped again, I apologize. Whether or not it actually happens, I don't know. This way, when I'm editing it back, I'll be like, hey, I caught that. Or at least, you know, if anyone wants to bring it up in the comments, I can say that I knew about it if it happened. But, yeah, there were several superstars I tried to give new attires for this pay-per-view. Didn't work out, so just stay tuned for the next few episodes. We'll be seeing some new attires debut and whatnot. That'll be cool. You know, a nice way to visually spice up the series. But here we go. WWE Championship up for grabs as the self-proclaimed best in the world, CM Punk, will take on the purveyor of bad news, Wade Barrett. So, CM Punk, he was a former member of the Raw roster, and he won the Royal Rumble. Fun fact, Wade Barrett was the final man CM Punk eliminated in the Royal Rumble match. So Barrett, you gotta think, he's still got a bit of a grudge from the Royal Rumble. That could perhaps be an extra sort of driving force here in this matchup here tonight. Besides, you know, Barrett's already strong determination to become WWE Champion. Barrett, he's been... Ref, get out of the way! Thank you. I wonder if 2K just put that in there intentionally to troll people. Probably not, but that would be kind of funny. You know, just imagine being a producer for this game, just trolling people like that. I feel like that could go for a laugh or two. I don't know. But getting back away from my side tangents, CM Punk, he was, you know, he won the Royal Rumble, defeated The Rock at WrestleMania, and now he's over here on SmackDown after being drafted from the WWE draft. So, I mean, CM Punk, his adjustment to SmackDown has worked out pretty well. He openly stated, the first episode he was there, that he's willing to face any and all challengers, and he will make them all go to sleep if they cross his path. And he did just that to the wrestling god, JBL, on the Slammy Awards episode of Universe Mode. So CM Punk, he's done enough to really build momentum for himself heading into this matchup here tonight. And Barrett, he's got momentum from the Battle Royal. So we'll see who is the better superstar here. Barrett, his journey towards the world title has been a long time coming. At Vengeance, he faced Sheamus for the world title, and he failed there. He was involved in the SummerSlam Battle Royal for the world title. He was the last SmackDown superstar to be defeated in the semifinals of the King of the Ring tournament, which, of course, we know that Mark Henry went on to win the King of the Ring tournament. So, Barrett, you know, if you're going to lose to somebody, at least he can say that he lost to the man who won the King of the Ring tournament. That was at Night of Champions. At TLC, well, leading up to TLC, Barrett faced Christian in the #1 Contenders match, which he lost as well. He was involved in the Elimination Chamber match for the world title, which he also lost. And now he's got one more opportunity for the WWE Championship this time against CM Punk. So Barrett, he's just about out of opportunities. I mean, he has been dominant. He has been getting a fair share of victories to his credit, but you can only lose a championship match so many times before you're knocked out of the title picture for good. Or at least until the title changes hands. But in Barrett's situation, I mean, the title has changed hands. There have been many champions, but he's lost every single opportunity he's gotten, whether it's Sheamus, whether it's Christian, Mark Henry, whether it's perhaps CM Punk here tonight. We'll have to find out. But he knows what it's like to lose to CM Punk, of course, at the Royal Rumble. So I don't think he's going to want to have that same feeling here tonight. So he's going to go to any lengths to win this matchup tonight. But CM Punk right now, he's going to wrap Barrett up in the ropes there. But of course, he's going to have to break before a 5 count, as that move is utilizing the rope, so it forces a rope break. So CM Punk can't have that type of move locked in for too long. And now Barrett, almost a variant of Wasteland, and then driving the knee into the back of CM Punk. Just trying to wear him down, perhaps, for Wasteland later in the match. But look at this. Wins a change. Wins a change by Wade Barrett. He could have Punk beat here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no. Just barely. CM Punk kicks out at 2.5. Close call there. And now Bullhammer. Bullhammer elbow by Wade Barrett. Good night, Punk. Cover by Barrett. 2 count. That is no way. CM Punk kicks out of the Bullhammer. Well, yes, it isn't the first time someone's kicked out of the Bullhammer, but it's very rarely done. I mean, it's a freaking elbow to your head, guys. You gotta be... You know, CM Punk, I guess he is a bit thick-skulled, so... I mean, he is a bit hard-headed, I guess is the term I'm trying to use, so... I guess it's no surprise that he does kick out of that one. You know, Barrett may even have hurt his own elbow in that process. I mean, Punk is that hard-headed. Now Punk slams Barrett's head off the mat there. But Barrett now, he's got to be doubting himself because the Bullhammer didn't put Punk away. So Barrett, he's only got one option left, it would seem, and that's Wasteland. But that's only if CM Punk gives him another chance, and I don't think Punk will. Look at this. Punk catapulting Barrett up into the air. He's got him on his shoulders. Go to sleep. The knee to the skull. That could put Barrett out. 1, 2, 3. CM Punk is still your WWE Champion. in dominant fashion right there. CM Punk, as I was saying, Barrett, I didn't think Punk was going to give Barrett another chance. That was the only way he would have gotten back into it. And Punk did not give Barrett another chance. Very shortly after getting hit with that bullhammer, it was only a matter of time until either Barrett finished off Punk or until Punk turned the tides, and that's desperately what Punk needed to do. So how did he do that? He caught Barrett off guard and then caught him with a knee square to the face. And Barrett, he went to sleep. He's going to be out for probably the rest of the night. We'll see you next week on SmackDown, Wade. But CM Punk here tonight, he can go home and celebrate, go out and party with the locker room, if he even has that many allies. I mean, I don't know. John Cena maybe, I don't know. CM Punk, though, he gets the win here tonight. So he can go celebrate however he wants to, because he's still the WWE Champion. He lives to fight another day, and he lives to face another challenger. So we'll have to wait and see who the next man that is going to challenge CM Punk will be. Who's going to step up? We'll find out next week on SmackDown. But back over to the Raw matches that will conclude this pay-per-view. The two Extreme Rules matches on the night, as it is Alberto Del Rio taking on the United States Champion Cesaro in a rematch from WrestleMania. Del Rio cashing in his rematch clause, but this is going to be Del Rio's last chance. I mean, Del Rio, he's been caught up in the United States title picture since Survivor Series when he won the Battle Royal, and then he lost it to Swagger at TLC, won it back at Royal Rumble, lost it to Cesaro at WrestleMania. So, I mean, Del Rio, his title reigns have been, he's had many U.S. title reigns, but they've been very wishy-washy, very short. You know, it's better, you know what they say, it's better to have quality than quantity. And Barrett, or not Barrett, still focused on the last match. Del Rio, his title reigns have been quantity as opposed to quality. So, Del Rio, he's, I don't know. It's just almost kind of been seeing the same thing with Del Rio. It looked as though he was starting to string together a good title reign, and then Cesaro completely derailed him at WrestleMania, and now Cesaro's United States Champion. Now, to be honest, I know I'm supposed to be an unbiased commentator, but I'm pulling for Cesaro in this matchup, because that was the whole deal with Jack Swagger as United States Champion. It had been a lot of same old, same old. You know, he had the long dominant reign at first, but then after that, it was kind of back and forth between him and Del Rio. And Paul Heyman eventually just basically said, hey, if you lose this matchup, you're not getting another shot. And Swagger, that was the triple threat at the Royal Rumble. He lost, and so he wasn't given another opportunity. He was able to move on to bigger and better things, and that's what I would like to see Del Rio do as well. Because, I mean, he did knock off the world champion Christian a few weeks ago. Although, you know, normally in that circumstance, the superstar would become #1 contender. Unfortunately for Del Rio, it was just the wrong time because Ziggler was already the #1 contender. So we couldn't really change that matchup at the last minute. So Del Rio, I don't know, because if he wants to go after the world title, the U.S. title could perhaps just kind of hold him back. But he can't challenge the world champion by losing a match. So Del Rio, it's an interesting predicament for him. But tonight, I don't know if he's here for the U.S. title, or if he's more just here for vengeance against Cesaro. As Cesaro, of course, his journey to the United States Championship was much like, I just forgot who I was going to reference. Dagnabbit. I guess kind of like Daniel Bryan's journey to Brock Lesnar. Wasn't exactly the reference I was looking for. But, you know, Cesaro, for a long time, he had been looking impressive, but he was just, you know, just a little bit away. He didn't quite, he would start to build up momentum, and then he would lose a match or two, and then build up momentum again, and he would just come close to being the #1 contender. We saw some bright spots of greatness from Cesaro. I would recommend you reference Night of Champions, where in the King of the Ring tournament, he defeated Bray Wyatt, went on to challenge The Undertaker, nearly defeated The Undertaker, And, you know, several other instances where Cesaro, he had opportunities, he came close, but just wasn't quite able to definitively name himself the #1 contender. And that was also partially due to the fact that the title was going back and forth between Del Rio and Swagger. And then Big E stepped up for a time to be one of the challengers. But then finally, Cesaro got his big break at Elimination Chamber. And even though he failed, at that point, there really wasn't... The only other competition he had was Curtis Axel. And Axel was defeated by Cesaro heading into WrestleMania. So Cesaro, you know, he was lucky. It was the right time for Cesaro that he could get another shot. And that's just what he did, and that second chance was what he needed. All he needed was a second chance, and he capitalized on it, winning the title at WrestleMania. But now we're battling it out here on the outside. This isn't just a normal wrestling match, like we've seen these two face off against each other in the past. You know, in a normal wrestling match, it appears as though, I mean, on the first night, Del Rio, he was the better man, he had the advantage. At WrestleMania, Cesaro had the advantage, but now it's an Extreme Rules match, so anything goes. You see Cesaro now has got a ladder, but Del Rio takes it away from Cesaro as they're almost trading it back and forth. And again, Cesaro blocks the ladder, takes it away from Del Rio. And now, oh, right to the gut. Oh, and now just drops the ladder on the back of Alberto Del Rio, and now just dropping the ladder to the floor there. Cesaro now has a sledgehammer, and we're definitely going to see a lot of these weapons being implemented throughout this matchup because it is Extreme Rules. Oh no, Del Rio was able to block it. And now Del Rio's got the sledgehammer right to the gut of Cesaro. And now Del Rio just relentless here, just striking at Cesaro with that sledgehammer right to the back of Cesaro. And you can see how quickly those weapons will inflict damage on the opponent. Uppercut there by Cesaro. Del Rio throws Cesaro back into the ring here. Nice chop right there. And now a big boot to the side of the head of our United States champion as Del Rio. Now I gotta say, with all the weapons being implemented, nice springboard elbow drop there to the back. But with the weapons being implemented, that's what's gonna help Del Rio gain the upper hand in this matchup. Because if it comes down to pure wrestling ability, Cesaro's got him outclassed. Del Rio, he's a submission expert. But, you know, Cesaro, he's more technically gifted, and he's a powerhouse, but he can also move around with great agility. So Del Rio, he needs those weapons to kind of level the playing field. Now look at this cross-arm breaker. Cross-arm breaker locked in on Cesaro. Center of the ring. Cesaro, he can't get to the ropes in it's an Extreme Rules match. There is no rope break. Cesaro could be in danger of tapping out here, but he was able to slip out of it. Cesaro not giving an inch, not willing to give up the fight just yet. Cover here by Del Rio. And again, a kick out by Cesaro. But Del Rio has really shifted the tides of this matchup. I mean, all it took was those few sledgehammer shots that really turned this match around in his favor. And now what's this? Oh, baseball bat! Well, luckily enough, Cesaro was able to avoid getting hit with that baseball bat. That could have knocked him out cold. But nonetheless, Del Rio still on the upper hand. But Cesaro counters with a nice punch right to the face. But now it's Del Rio who counters with a nice arm breaker there. Del Rio going back to the outside. No, he's going for a springboard here. Didn't quite get all of it, but it was enough to be effective. And Cesaro now, perhaps trying to get the match back. He's trying to regain control in this matchup, trying to take control of the pace again. Looking to quicken the pace with a springboard uppercut right to the jaw of Del Rio. As now Cesaro picks Del Rio up. What's he looking to do here? Well, whatever it is, Del Rio had it well scouted, and he countered it. And now Cesaro backed into a corner here. As Alberto Del Rio, what's going to be his next move? Countered by Cesaro. Knee lift right to the gut. But again, Cesaro gets countered. And here's Del Rio now. He's got Cesaro all caught up in the ropes. And now delivering the elbows right to the lower back. Following it up with a backstabber right there to Cesaro. And the Swiss Superman, he may have been met with his kryptonite. Oh, man. Del Rio's going after the steel steps now. Del Rio looking to implement the steel steps into this matchup as he tosses him in the ring. And perfect positioning by Del Rio as he dropped the steps right on Cesaro, just as Cesaro was starting to get back to his feet. And Del Rio just continuously slamming those steel steps onto the back of Cesaro. Now drops the steel steps on Cesaro altogether, and now has him into the corner there. Cesaro is in a great deal of trouble. Del Rio enziguri to the side of the head, or the back of the head of Cesaro, and now goes for the cover again. 2 count. No, but Cesaro just manages to kick out. But I don't know. Cesaro, he's taken a great deal of punishment in this matchup thus far. He's not looking so hot at the moment. Counter by Del Rio. Counter by Cesaro. Clothesline right there by Cesaro. As Cesaro, I think he's got to finish this matchup quickly. He's been hit with a ton of foreign objects, and the damage from that is really going to take its toll, more so than Cesaro's standard wrestling moves. But look at this. Oh, he just slammed him right there. Fisherman's carry slam right onto the steel steps. And Cesaro, very smart thinking here. He's looking to go in for the kill. Snaps the neck. That is vintage Cesaro as he measures Del Rio, setting him up in position for the GOT-style neutralizer. And for good measure, the back of Del Rio's ankle, his knee connecting on the steel steps just for added damage. Cesaro hooks the leg. 2 count. And Cesaro has retained the United States Championship. Whew, but he went to war here tonight with Del Rio. Del Rio just utilizing the Extreme Rules environment to its full effect. We saw baseball bats, kendo sticks, sledgehammers, steel steps, steel chairs. Everything but the kitchen sink was brought into this matchup. And for the most part, utilized by Del Rio. But in the end, Cesaro, his pure wrestling ability still managed to prevail. And his endurance, he was able to sustain, he was able to endure all the punishment and managed to come back at the right time, deliver the neutralizer, and finish off Alberto Del Rio. So, this night has really been a night for the champions, as it's been the Intercontinental Championship retained, the WWE Championship was retained, the United States Championship, the Tag Team Championships all retained. The only title that's changed hands has been the Divas Championship. So, that could perhaps, is that a bit of foreshadowing leading into our main event here tonight? As, I mean, so far throughout the night, the champions have, for the most part, retained the title. The only title that's changed hands was Brie Bella's Divas Championship, which is now in the possession of Paige. So the odds at the moment appear to be in Christian's favor. Although, the past few weeks, Christian's momentum has been a bit rocky. He's, especially this last week as well, where he lost to Kane on main event. He did manage to pick up a victory on a guest appearance on SmackDown over Goldust. But nonetheless, Christian, his opportunities to win matches have kind of been slipping away. I mean, the tag team match against The Shield on Raw 2 weeks ago. Whereas Dolph Ziggler, he did lose to Del Rio, but he's managed to balance that out with victories over the likes of Seth Rollins. Christian as well, back at the WWE Draft. I mean, Dolph Ziggler, he's managed to, also the fact that he stole the show on Monday Night Raw against Seth Rollins, but that could perhaps play against him, as those two really beat the living hell out of each other. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of shape Dolph Ziggler is in here tonight against Christian, as Ziggler and Rollins, they took each other to the absolute limit on Raw. He has had 6 days to recover, but he is still, you can't quite recover from everything in 6 days. And Ziggler took quite a beating at the hands of Seth Rollins. But still, he's got momentum in his corner, and Dolph Ziggler, he's got the determination. He's had a long journey as well, like Daniel Bryan, like Cesaro, like all these superstars who have been, building themselves up to get to this ultimate culmination, whether it's a match with your arch rival, a championship victory. There have been several superstars stepping up as of late who've been getting there. Let's name a few recently. Cesaro, Christian winning the World Heavyweight Championship, Titus O'Neil winning the Intercontinental Championship. There's just been all these superstars who've been building themselves up. Dolph Ziggler is another one of them. We take a look all the way back what happened last year at Extreme Rules. Dolph Ziggler was in a match against Zack Ryder. He went on to Over the Limit to lose in the United States Championship match with Jack Swagger. Ziggler's come a long way. He's been one of the superstars who has been here since the beginning of Universe Mode. Although, WWE 2K15 wasn't exactly Ziggler's year. He was neglected from probably the later half of WWE 13 up until, I don't know, maybe even as far as Survivor Series of 2K14. Ziggler just kind of fell off the map for a little bit. He kind of disappeared. But then he came back. He's been getting a lot of victories. I mean, victories over The Undertaker, Batista, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose. Dolph Ziggler has been racking up victories. And he was in the Elimination Chamber match, and he had a very strong showing. It took a spine buster into an attitude adjustment from The Rock and John Cena, respectively, to eliminate Ziggler from that matchup. And he's back again. He's back to challenge, this time for the World Heavyweight Championship. Could tonight be Dolph Ziggler's night? And we're going to find out now as Christian starts out with the upper hand off that beautiful kick to the face. Now a punch from Christian. Now a collar and elbow tie-up from these two. As we're going to see a lot of this sort of technical style of wrestling. A lot of technical grappling battles here between Ziggler and Christian, as both men are well-versed in that ring. Dolph Ziggler, a former amateur wrestler. He's got that background. And then Christian, he's a veteran in that ring. Not so much a high flyer as he used to be. You know, he's good in the environments of like ladder matches, TLC. He's learned to use weapons to his advantage, which is what he's mostly known for. But Christian can kind of do a little bit of everything. He can hit moves like suplexes and even power bombs, which, you know, depending on the opponent, of course. But Christian, he can utilize a bit more of the power style of offense. Not very often, but he does have a bit of those moves in his arsenal. Yet he can also fly off the top rope with moves like springboard uppercuts. Well, not really springboard, but uppercuts off the second rope. Crossbody, frog splashes. You know, Christian, he can do it all. He's well-versed in that ring. And, you know, his decade-plus years of in-ring experience he's learned a lot throughout that time. He's become a true veteran, a true master of the ring, master of his craft. So we're going to see a lot of grappling battles between these two, a lot of back-and-forth counters I would expect to see from these two men as well. I mean, they have faced off in the past twice. Once on the season finale of 2K14, which Ziggler won that matchup, and again on the WWE Draft SmackDown edition, which Ziggler won on that occasion. So Ziggler has beaten Christian the two times they faced off. So could the third time perhaps be the charm for Dolph Ziggler, this time resulting in championship gold? Or is Christian going to break the trend and defeat Ziggler for the first time in Universe Mode? Well, at the moment, Dolph Ziggler's gained the upper hand, stomping away at the gut of Christian, now picking him up to his feet. But Christian looking perhaps for a flapjack of some sort or whatever he was going for. He had him up on his shoulders, but Ziggler countered with a nice DDT. And this is an Extreme Rules match, folks, so Dolph Ziggler is looking like he's going to introduce a weapon to this matchup. He's going to want to, I would say Ziggler should try to stay away from the tables, ladders, and chairs, as I feel like that would benefit Christian a bit more. So it's a good idea of Ziggler to, of all the weapons he could grab a sledgehammer. Although I'd have to say, if Christian or Ziggler would bring a ladder into the matchup, I think that could benefit either man, as they both are superstars who can, you know, they have the kind of style that goes well with a ladder. As Christian tosses the sledgehammer into that ring, perhaps looking to utilize it, but he's not allowed to pick it up. Ziggler prevented him from doing so, and then in the process of that last kick, it got kicked out of the ring. So now we're back to the standard wrestling matchup that we would expect to see from these two. Christian, though, ducking back to the outside, looking for a different weapon, perhaps looking to grab something more his style. No, he's got a baseball bat. Well, that's a bit unorthodox. We did see the baseball bat almost get used earlier on in the match between Del Rio and Christian, or Del Rio and Cesaro. But Christian, so far, he's really utilizing that baseball bat to its full effect. Connected with the face of Dolph Ziggler multiple times. Again has him up on his shoulders, but Ziggler counters with a reverse DDT. Able to shift the weight And now Christian able to fight Ziggler off here. Throws him into the barricade right there. And in case you're watching this video, if you've managed to stick it out for the entire episode, I want you to comment down below, I call shenanigans. That's what I want you to comment if you stuck throughout the entire pay-per-view. And if you just skip to the end, I would rather you not try to lead me on with false hopes. But, you know, I would think maybe if you're skipping to the end, you would have skipped to the outcome of the matchup, perhaps. I don't know. I don't know how people work when they skip videos. I don't know what they're looking for in a pay-per-view. But yeah, if you've stuck it out for the entire video, comment down below, I call shenanigans. That is the code for this episode. But there's the flapjack. The third time's the charm for Christian. He's able to connect with it. First two times, Ziggler was able to counter into separate various DDTs. But now Dolph Ziggler, he's looking to power Christian out there, holding him up even for a little bit for that vertical suplex. Dolph Ziggler, they call him the show-off, and, well, that's a good example as to why he is known as the show-off. And now Christian, well, he threw Ziggler into the post, but Ziggler blocked Christian's attempted attack before he could do too much damage. Oh, and now Christian bounces headfirst off the steel. Dolph Ziggler, that could definitely turn this matchup into his favor. Could perhaps give Christian a concussion, but now it's Ziggler who bounces headfirst off the ring post. And after taking two baseball bats to the face, another off the ring post, and now a knee to the skull by Christian. Christian really zeroing in on the head of Dolph Ziggler. And we do know that Ziggler, you know, with his style of wrestling in the ring, he's very fast-paced. He'll fly around that ring, put his body at risk, and that opens you up to injuries such as concussions, and that appears to be what Christian's trying to do here. Perhaps trying to trigger something like that with the baseball bats to the face, the shots to the ring post, and then that knee to the skull, of course. But we got the match back in the ring. Oh, Dolph Ziggler, is he looking for the zigzag? He's measuring Christian, waiting for him to get to his feet. Can he hit it? Zigzag connects by Dolph Ziggler. Could he put Christian away here? We could have a new world champion. 2 count. Dolph Ziggler has done it. Dolph Ziggler is your new World Heavyweight Champion, ladies and gentlemen. Well, tonight overall was the night of the champion, but Dolph Ziggler, he made this his night, the night of the challenger. Ziggler, wow. The third time in a row they have faced off. The third time Dolph Ziggler has won. Dolph Ziggler, this time, he has finally reached the top of the mountain. He has captured the World Heavyweight Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for watching this pay-per-view. I hope you enjoyed it, and until the next episode, keep on YouTubing.